Good morning and welcome to this week's challenge on Adobe Live. It's great to be here. I see Robert, Sean, Val in the chat. How is everyone doing today? My name is Jacob and I am your host for today. This is the third challenge on Adobe Live and I am so excited to demo the Essential Graphics tab and take a podcast that we're working on and see how we can make it a lot better using graphics. So Adobe has this amazing graphics panel that has been around for a while now. And essentially, this Essential Graphics tab is this tool that we can use to build captions or whatever we want to do. So the awesome part is I have this podcast that I do. I am a videographer and I have a production business. And I have some real estate agents that I do a podcast with. And we actually have this fun little Family Matters sort of intro that we play. And sorry, I was just making sure that this was working. So I have this intro that plays, and essentially every week we go on and we want to show off the different things that these real estate agents are talking about. And it's really fun because we are able to just post it so quickly that we can see the different we need to get content out fast, and the Central Graphics panel helps us do that. Sorry, I'm just gonna make sure. So as you can see, I'm just gonna play a little bit. We use this intro that's actually a Family Matters song. Like, I don't know if you saw that show as a kid, but we have that play as like a little intro with everyone kind of just like smiling and like doing this. It's kind of like this corny thing. And I had to kind of take it out so that way we're not having any like copyrighted music. But essentially,
let's get started, guys. It is Tuesday, almost the middle of March.
This is the podcast, and we want to turn this into social content. So to do that, we first need to find, what sections we want to do. So I have this one part that is talking about the Super Bowl. Let me play that right now.
All right, but quick question about that. So this is interesting. Last time the Super Bowl was at Levi, Santa Clara was not happy because the majority of the events happened in San Francisco. So they're working really hard to push it back to where most of the events are happening in the Santa Clara area. So for those of you people that have rental properties or nice homes that you want to rent out, might be a nice little Airbnb play around Super Bowl week.
You can rent out your home for the amount of a ticket that it's going to cost to go to that Super Bowl. So think about that. Just get ready for that.
My house will rent.
Okay, so essentially, they're talking about we want to rent the Levi Stadium. It's in Santa Clara County in San Jose, and the Super Bowl finally got decided, I guess, that in a couple years it's going to be there. And so as realtors, they're like, hey, you could rent your house out or you could stay here. So I think this is a pretty good clip, and we want to turn it into something. And so the first thing that we do to turn it into a social media clip is go to your C command, and puts up this razor, and let's say we want to cut all 4 lines of this audio. We can do that by holding down the shift key. So that's the C key and then the shift key, and then I started it right here.
But quick question about that.
And then I wanted to find kind of a good end to this, so I did find it already.
2026 than it was last Super Bowl.
Great clip.
Okay, he literally says great clip, which is perfect. And by the way, I have this scene available for download, so that way after this stream, you can go ahead and download this yourself and do whatever you need. So you can add whatever you want as well. So I'm going to select this, and I actually brought it into here already just for the sake of time. And first, you're going to want to generate some captions. And so the easiest way to do that is to make sure that you have your text panel open in the Edit tab, and you have you can create captions right here. And so what it does is this magic thing, and it auto generates everything that's being said in this scene. I can click it right now and show you. And when you transcribe, we can retranscribe the sequence, but I already transcribed it already. And yeah, essentially from there, we get into the more, how do we want our captions to look? Because by default, it's going to look a little boring. I don't really want it to be too crazy, because the kind of content that the guys are talking about here is like, it's a little bit more boring, like business sort of thing. So I want it to be professional, because I mean, at the end of the day, it is client work. So I have right here this thing. And if you go over on this side, you can actually view what is going on in your Essential Graphics tab. And you have a lot of different options here, which is really the nice thing about the Graphics tab. So let's see. Oh, it sounds like my screen is frozen. Give me 1 second. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. All right. Let's recap this. We are back. I am plagued with technical difficulties this morning. I'm sorry, guys. It's a Monday. So I have this podcast, and we are going to be editing it to see to chop it up into some social media clips. And so I have this pulled together, and what I want to do is chop this scene in the Essential Graphics panel. So let me just show you what I'm doing.
What's happening in 2026 in February? Where's the Super Bowl
it's
going
here.
to be?
It's here.
So I have this thing.
It's here.
You're giving us
And to chop this up, let me just backtrack since I've now repeated myself a couple times. So essentially what we want to do is go over into the Captions tab and click Transcript. And up here, you'll see these are all the subtitles that I already created. But just to backtrack, what we'll want to do is retranscribe this sequence. And so what that does is it listens to this entire scene and it creates a transcription that we can use for captions. Because pretty much all social media clips nowadays, everyone needs to watch them with captions because a lot of people don't even watch videos with the audio on. And so it's really helpful to have that on. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is play this back.
What's happening in 2026 in February? Where's the Super Bowl
it's
going
here.
to be?
So as you can see, it's following the text. And what we're able to do in the Essential Graphics tab is change the look and feel of it. So what I did is I went ahead and clicked the A key and I selected all of these text boxes because we want all of them to transform together. And so as you'll see, we have so many different options now that we're able to pull. Like this one, we have fonts, where we want it to be, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys just so you can see. And by the way, I have a copy of this so that way after the stream you can work on the same file. And let's say we want to make the text bigger, right? We can fix that. We can fix what zone we want it to be on. Do we want it to be on the left? Do we want it to be in the middle? Do we want it to be to the right? And then one of the biggest things that I like to do when I'm adding graphics or captions is adding a little background color, something subtle, because usually you just need to have the text stick out a little bit better. So I have this selected here, and you can change the opacity of how dark and bright you want this to be. Play this back. Let's see how it looks.
2026 in February? Where's the Super Bowl
it's
going
here.
to be?
Okay. So I like how dark that is. And like I said earlier, you're going to want to select all of this because it will kindly adjust all the text and little effects that you changed all together, which is really nice. And just to kind of step back to give like a more broad view of the Essential Graphics tab, you can get there by adding it in your window over here to Essential Graphics, or if you just change to Captions and Graphics. And the really fun part about it is how much flexibility you have in here because it provides you with all these templates that are free to download. I think there's like hundreds of them right here. And so you can do anything you need. Like a lot of times you might need like a lower third logo or something like that. And you're able to just drag that in and do whatever you need. And edit whatever you need to it. Here, let me just show you. So plugs in. You can click this, and you can edit this lower third right in real time. It's like an actual graphic. And so just like captions, you have so much flexibility here. So if I click on this, I can move this, and I can basically say, hey, what's this guy's name? Let's say his name is David. David Chapman. He's a motion designer. Let's say he's a real estate agent. And things like this, if you play this back.
March, I am fired up today for a couple of reasons.
And literally in 2 seconds, I have an animated lower third. And so things like that are really helpful because we're all just so busy, especially in this, age of, you want to make content quickly. A lot of podcast topics are really just about current events. And so you want to get stuff out as quickly as possible. And so having the essential graphics tab to just choose what you need is really nice. And just a little, to get even more technical, you can actually go into After Effects, and you can export what's called a MOGRT of any sort of thing you make in After Effects. So this was something that somebody else made in After Effects, and you can export the MOGRT directly into Premiere by just clicking Export to Motion Graphics Template, and that just winds up right into your Premiere. And I think that's that's like the coolest part about the just this ecosystem, right? Is like you can make complicated graphics, or you can just get them for free, and they're just all in one place and can be sent straight to this tab. So I really like that. I really want to just show some of the last things of how I make these graphics, because I think captions are some of the most important things. Like I said, most people watch social media content when it's on TikTok or Instagram without any sound. You definitely want to have audio. And so, yeah, let me play this back.
Events happened in San Francisco. So they're working really hard to push it back to where most of the events are happening in the Santa Clara area. So for those of you people that have rental properties or nice homes that you want to rent out, might be a nice little Airbnb play around Super Bowl week. So I think that'll be.
So I don't really like how low these are. I think I actually adjusted that earlier. So you're actually able to drag this up right here, and boom, we have a little higher. Because one thing you also want to think about is how there is a certain amount of cropping on social media on the left, right, and especially on the top and bottom of social media posts. And so you don't actually want your text to live like super low down here, because it most likely will get cropped off on TikTok and things like that. And so drag this up. Don't want it too above their faces. And let's just play this back, see how it looks. I kind of want to bring it down a little bit more. And you actually have a lot of options when creating graphic captions too, to select how many lines and how many words you want. So, because right here, this looks a little bit busy, right? Like there's just almost too much text going on, and you can collapse it and actually have less text, which is really fun. Scroll this down, hit play.
To where most of the events are happening in the Santa Clara area. So for those of you people that have rental properties or nice homes that you want to rent out, might be a nice little Airbnb play around Super Bowl week. So I think that'll be interesting if you guys own property around Santa.
Okay. And that is essentially how I make the graphics for these podcasts. And I have plenty of them that we actually put together. We do this pretty much every single week, and we're able to make content so fast because of this motion graphics tab. And like I said, you can get a lot more fun with it in this browse tab. There are more fun captions that you can bring together. There's even fun little drop a like and subscribe buttons and things like that can help for the main video. Let me just drag this in. please like and subscribe. This is just like a free asset that if anyone ever mentions it during the video, you can
Fired
just
up
pop it
today
up.
for a couple of reasons. One,
And you know, it's our social media handles. This is really helpful too. So like you can drag this on if you have a guest, or like at the end of the show, you can actually just put in whatever you want. And like, it's crazy because when you go into this edit tab, you have so much control of what, you know, you want to do. You can change everything from just the text like we were doing earlier, to even like look at all this. Like, it's just so crazy how many options that you have in just a template. Because normally when you're using different apps, sometimes on your phone or things like that, I find that templates don't really give you too much option. And yeah, that's kind of the beautiful part about having options here in the graphics tab. Like, I mean, you can change pretty much everything you want,
you know, about
in an animation that's already made. I mean, this is something that used to take, like, I would say hours to make in After Effects back in the day. Like, I actually have it open. This is a simple one, but you could have layers upon layers in After Effects, and you'd be exporting it back and forth to Premiere. And like, the fact that these are all just made for you, and it just speeds up your workflow like so incredibly fast. And so yeah, that is all I have for today. Like I said, you can download what I was just working on in the description below, and you're able to add any captions you want, have fun with it, and kind of see how you can spice it up a little bit, because honestly, there's just so much room for making it even better. You know, it sometimes seems like even the better, more viral videos these days have those texts that just are flying at you and things like that. And we didn't get into that today, but that is definitely something that you should play with. The Essential Graphics tab is not to be slept on. It is crucial to your editing workflow. And thank you all for joining me today. And I will see you next week. Take care.